My name is Ron Sparks.
Do you want to say it again so I don't talk in the middle of it?
Okay. My name's Ron Sparks.
Hi, Ron.
Hi, how you doing?
So, what do, Ron?
I'm a comedian and a writer, and an actor, and a professional domino toppler. Thanks for getting the mic for me, Kevin. Hey everybody, welcome to the Tuesday Night News Desk, your number one source for everything that's happened in the last week. I'm Ron Sparks. Former President George W. Bush has announced plans to go on a speaking tour this summer. Unlike Bill Clinton's speaking tours, which cost a whopping $500,000 per 1 hour engagement, Bush's appearances will start at, quote, 2 bits a gander, and feature something called a turkey derby. No word yet as to whether turkey derby is in reference to some sort of a turkey race or simply a feathery hat. I think I've known my whole life I wanted to be a comic. I was a class clown, and I wouldn't be happy working in an office or something. I'm too crazy. An Indonesian fisherman was killed last week when he trespassed onto an island national park reserve dedicated to Komodo dragons to look for apples and was bitten to death by 3 of the humongous lizards. In other news, you can get apples at the store now. First gig was right over there on this stage. I did improv first in college, and from there I did sketch. And it went really well. I worked the door here, and from there they egged me on to do a set here, finally. So that's how I did stand-up. I always wanted to do it, but I was too scared. So thankfully they made me do it, and it went well. Federal NDP leader Jack Layton has visited Saskatchewan for already the 3rd time this year in an effort to increase his party's profile in the province before the next federal election. And it worked, said one excited farmer. Hey, who the heck is that bald queer? Not to sound vain, there's been so many good ones. I can't pick just one. I'm appreciative of every set I've done. But I've gotten to do the Halifax Fest, Winnipeg Fest is coming up. I've been to the Canadian Comedy Awards every year since I left Toronto. So I have no complaints, Jenica. Stop putting words in my mouth.
How about your worst?
Worst set? My worst set was intentional. It was at the Laugh Resort on an amateur night, and I was the pro up at the end of the night. And there was one particularly obnoxious new comic up, I think second. And he brought about 4 tables worth of people who were horrible. They heckled every other amateur comic. They cheered for him even though he didn't have any jokes. He was just disgusting and talked about sexually abusing old people at an old folks home. They thought it was hilarious. So anyway, as soon as he was done, they stayed there for some reason and heckled every comic. So I asked the manager, Sydney, if I could go up and walk the room. And she said okay. So I went up for about 20 minutes. And I did the worst comedy anyone has ever done in their life. I've never tried impressions, but I did that night. And I failed in walking the room, but I got everyone to leave except 4 people. This elderly couple who were too polite to walk out on me, and then 2 of this guy's friends who were staying just to watch the train wreck. I thought it was awesome. I'm very awesome, everybody. Speaking of the FDA, a study by Rashmi Sinha, the head of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, has found that eating red meat increases your risk of mortality due to heart disease and cancer. Oh yeah? Well, I did a study and found that not eating red meat increases your risk of gay due to being a girl. So why don't you just put your study back in your purse and have a burger, Nancy? I'd have to say, still winning the Tim Sims Award. My brain was just fried because I knew I had a good chance to win it, but when they announced me, my brain turned to Swiss cheese. I remember I had the worst acceptance speech to thank everybody. I just rambled on for about 5 minutes until they almost cut me off. But still, it was great.
What did you win that for?
That was the Tim Sims Award is an annual award given to Toronto's most promising new comedy act, and it's named for Tim Sims, who, if you look into him, he was a great guy who supported young comics. So that's why they have an award named for him. But one of the people I beat for that was Marty Adams, and I want that out there. Take that, Marty. I get recognized all the time, always for that. I've done a million things and everybody always recognizes me for Video on Trial, which I'm not complaining, it's great. We do it for the recognition, not the money. Trust me on that. On Thursday, a small Kansas town was devastated by a tornado. Sunday night, rescuers called off the search for more survivors, but on Monday morning, a man crawled out of the rubble of a building all by himself. Said the town's fire chief, "We are ecstatic he turned up alive, but I'm surprised that he did because we looked everywhere." Said the survivor, No, you freaking didn't." The live audience. There's nothing better. Well, if you do well. If you're doing really well, it's great. If you're not doing well, it's not so good. But if you're dying, it becomes great again. It's a weird conundrum. Some of the most fun I've had is when I'm on stage just dying. That's everything that happened last week. Please join us again next week. We'll tell you what happens this week. Thank you very much to Kevin McDonald. Welcome back. Eric Talk. Good night.